Okay, we are on week 5, set 2, SWYK 1. All right, but I had to throw in this first problem. We're not practicing it again because you know how to draw lines. Let's jump into question 2. These I think you'll find easier than the last ones. So I kind of did the hard ones first. And so if y, so this really, that's a fancy notation for y, right? Y is equal to 3. That's it, folks. Y is equal to 3. So on my open circle, arrow left, I chose -2, and I had to pick something smaller than -2, which is -3. But both of these are 3. There's no calculating, folks. They just are telling you right away. The y value is 3. Okay, now I'm hoping that you realize that that's going to create a horizontal line because the y values are the same. On the next part, I had to pick something that was -2 and something bigger. I just chose 0, but you could have picked -1 if you really wanted to. However, the y value for this one is 2. So we're looking for something open circle arrow left at 3. So let's see here. Well, right there's a problem because that's a closed circle. Right there's a problem because there's a closed circle there. We want, boy, they didn't get you a very tricky one because this one's open, which is good, but that one's open also, and it's supposed to be closed. So D is the only one that really is even a possibility. And if you look at it, you can see that it's the open circle with the +3 going this way and a closed circle +2 going the other way. Okay, so that one was pretty easy. So these are really going to be simple, right? If it's -2, it's both -2. There's no thinking. It's just -7. I do have, notice this. We're going to have 2 closed circles. That's a little bit different. Okay. Well, letter B, look at that. Look at this. They're trying to be all tricky on me. No way. We didn't fall for that one. This has got 2 open circles. Now notice that this one is at 0 and this one is at 1. So they will not, the dots won't be one over the top of each other. Okay? They will not. All right, so we need to take a closer look at letter A here. Okay, each one of these is going by 1 unit. So it looks like this one's down here at -3. And that one's at -7. So this one cannot be the right one because we need -2 and 7. Whoops. Hitting the wrong things. So it must be this one, and it is. There it is. -2 going to the left and -7 going to the right. Okay, so what's the domain? All right, now we're getting into, you know how it says or union right there. This is your first chance for an or union question. So in order to write this interval, right, -infinity for the x's is way out here, and +infinity for the x's is way out there. So we're actually going to have a split domain. Oops, made a mistake already. A split domain. We need a bracket here because we are including, right, it goes all the way up to, right there is the x value 0. But then it jumps over this section right here, starts at 1 and goes that way forever. So it's starting at 1 and going to +infinity. Remember, we always talked about how infinity and -infinity, you can't put any brackets on those. So when they say the word union, we actually are going to put a union symbol, which will actually be in the Math Excel, where you can put that symbol between the 2 groups. Now, the second part is going to be a little bit trickier, and I'm not sure what notation they want, so I'm going to have to get into this question and see. But the reality is, and sometimes they'll use like this little brace, which I did not do a very good job of drawing, because there's only 2 numbers, and I'm talking about only 2 numbers. It's not an interval, so you can't use the parenthesis bracket kind of idea. At least I don't think they're going to do anything like that. Let me pause this and go see what it is that they want. Okay, so I was totally right on this. You got to use these the brackets. It's on the keyboard on the same key that your brackets are at. So it's the same key where you find this. If you use the shift key, you find the brace. So we want that brace thing, and then we want the two numbers separated by a comma. And that indicates that there's only two different numbers, not everything in between. That's so that's why we use that different notation. Okay, on to the next. Okay, so went through, got open circle, arrow left, closed circle, arrow right, using 1 for both of them, and then something smaller than 1. Probably should change colors because that looks dumb. And so that's why I chose 0, and then on the next one I chose 1 and something bigger than 1, so I chose 2. And if I take these and I plug them in here, I get -1 and -2. And if I plug these into the other one, well, there's not a whole lot to do there. They're both -3. So the part that's going to the right has to be a horizontal line. So that gets rid of this choice and this choice. Okay? And the reason I can get rid of this choice is, notice that the open circle is on the horizontal line. That's not true. In this case, we know that the closed circle has to be on the horizontal line. So letter choice C is the only one that has even a remote possibility. It's got the open circle where we need it to be at 1, -1, and then it goes to the left, whereas the closed circle is on the horizontal line going to the right. Okay, do they ask me more information on that question? No, that's pretty much the end of that question. Moving on to number 5. Okay, similar type situation here. You can notice that because we're dealing with a single number, no matter what you plug in, I plugged in -1 and something smaller than -1. I got -5 both times. So that might actually be enough to get rid of your choices, right? Because you need a closed circle arrow left, and it does have to be, so this has a closed circle but not going left, closed circle but not horizontal line. This one has an open circle going to the left horizontal line, so that's not it either. This is your only choice. You didn't even have to do the other part, but if you did, -1 plus -3 would be -4, and 0 would give me -3, and then you could look at graphing that part as well with the open circle and moving on. And I think that's it for that particular section. Can't believe that was a shorter video. I'm glad it was.